This is a Film Stories original podcast.
We made this.
Welcome back to the Xcast. As ever, the truth is in here. And you are listening to our special Fight the Future Minute podcast series. I'm Carl Sweeney, your host for today. Really delighted to be here for my first solo episode. I've been chatting with Tony and Sarah, but now I'm hosting a few, which is really, really fun because, as you know, we're covering the X-Files feature film, Fight the Future, 1 minute at a time, which is kind of a crazy endeavour, I think, but it's going to be a lot of fun. We've still got over 100 minutes to go at this stage, but we'll get there soon enough. This is our coverage of minute 7 of the film, a minute which begins at the 6-minute mark with a young boy having just fallen down a hole in North Texas, and this minute ends after the black oil makes its reappearance. It starts to emerge from the ground. And I'm delighted to be joined for this minute, and for the next several minutes actually, by Luke Winch, who I've never podcasted with before, so I'm delighted to say hi, Luke.
Hey Carl, how are you doing?
Yeah, really good, thanks, and welcome to Fight the Future Minute. I mean, it's a pretty enormous task we've set for ourselves here, isn't it?
It's a monumental one, yeah, and quite insane, but it's going to be really good fun, and I can't wait to listen to the finished product as well.
Yeah, it is going to be fun for those of us who are recording these episodes, listening back to all the pieces together and, you know, the ones we haven't been on and stuff. It's going to be great fun, I think, yeah. I think the place to start, Luke, is probably with your overall thoughts on Fight the Future. So, yeah, how fond are you of the first X-Files film?
I'm really fond of it, and it brings back quite a few memories as well, because I was living in London at the time, and I was working in the West End theatres, working at front of house. So it was, and I remember a big group of us going to see this because I kind of befriended a group of geeks, which was great. Yeah, and we all went to Leicester Square to watch this. Unfortunately, not on the premiere, but we did go and see it at Leicester Square, which is it's always a good experience there.
So, can you remember much about, you know, like, was it Full House kind of thing?
It was, yeah. No, I distinctly remember it being very busy. Pretty much a Full House, I think. You know, it was at the height of the X-Files popularity in the US and UK, so it was, it was very popular.
It was a bit of a moment, wasn't it? For especially for the fans of the series like us. I mean, were you a fan from day one? So was this something you'd long anticipated? Oh,
absolutely. I mean, I remember the pilot episode on TV. I remember watching it with my mum, because she wasn't sure whether I should be watching this at my age. But I just remember being hooked from day one. So I've been an X-Files fan for a very long time.
All right. I mean, I guess we should dive into this minute then. So we pick up, I mean, the previous minute I think had the first few seconds of this scene, but we pick up basically with Stevie, who's just fallen down the hole, kind of winded himself. Got the wind knocked out of me, is what he says. Yeah, what do you make of the kids then in this scene? I mean, we've got Stevie down there and his mates obviously above. Like, how do you think these kids come across?
Yeah, I mean, they've all got the Texas drawl, so I think we know where in America we are, which is, you know, is a good little giveaway. I've always wondered why they were digging in the first place. I just find it, you know, why were they digging? You know, were they looking for, I don't know, scrap metal or toys or something like that? But no, they come across quite authentically. I noticed that the kid who plays Stevie, actor called Lucas Black, who's grown, you know, he's done 6 years in NCIS New Orleans and been in Jarhead and the Fast and Furious films and stuff, so he's done quite well for himself. It was interesting to kind of watch it again and and recognise him as a kid. It was quite interesting.
Yeah, I think I appreciate some of those things too. I think I like that the dialogue is quite grounded, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like these are not really like sanitized kids, I don't think. Like he spits, doesn't he? And he says something about butt wop or whatever it was later on in the scene, doesn't he? So they kind of coarse kids, aren't they? So I appreciate that. I appreciate that they weren't kind of Hollywoodized children.
Yeah, they're kind of rough and ready, aren't they? They're outdoor kids, definitely.
Yeah, I was thinking that this was somewhat evocative of what I remember of being a kid. I don't know about digging holes, but just like taking off into the woods and stuff and just be gone all day, you know. I think it's different for kids. I think it depends where you live, but I think it's slightly different for children growing up today, isn't it?
It is, and I think, you know, all the access to electronic media and computer games and stuff, might be quite a generalised view, but I think a lot of kids spend a lot of time indoors rather than going out and, you know, and playing make-believe and in the commons or the parks or something.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean by being generalised, because it can be quite quickly become sort of the good old days kind of thing. But I think it's true. Yeah. Just when I look at my own son, it's just very different to what I remember. I was growing up in the kind of late 80s, early 90s kind of thing. Okay, so this is interestingly, it's the first scene in the film which is in the present day, because of course we've had the stuff with the cavemen before this. So we kind of transitioned to the time frame we'd associate with the series. Apparently some of this stuff is shot. So I think when we're above ground with the kids up there, that's California City, I think. And there's some stuff on a soundstage. I think that's right. That's the impression I got from listening to the commentary track anyway. I mean, can you see the seams? To me, it looks pretty seamless. Like, I can't really tell where one location ends and the other begins, kind of thing.
It is pretty seamless, actually. And I was wondering whether the cave was a set or a real cave, because it looks dusty. There's some great, like, stalagmites and stalactites in the background shadowed away. But it looks a very authentic cave.
It certainly does, yeah. So what happens here? I guess we see the skull, don't we? And it's towards the very end of this minute we start to see the black oil again.
Yeah.
So what do you feel about the black oil's usage in this film? Like, was the black oil one of those it's not really a character, I guess, but recurring motifs or iconography that you really like from the series? Like, did you always get a bit of a thrill whenever the black oil made an appearance? Yeah,
definitely. I think specifically in the first 5 or 6 years of the X-Files, the black oil storylines were always a really good idea, I think. And I like the fact that in the previous minutes, in the caveman era, we have a little glimpse of the black oil, and now in present day, I think all X-Files fan will get that kind of thrill when they see the black oil, and they kind of know that that's going to be integral to this particular story in this movie.
Do you have any thoughts on like the way it looks here? Because it looks slightly different, doesn't it? And I guess it's because it's the film, and they've got a different budget for the effects or whatever, and it's not the weekly schedule and stuff. But I thought it was interesting that Frank Spotnitz has alluded to the fact there had been some criticism of the effects of the black oil. But I think it looks pretty neat. How about you?
I think it does as well, and I like the way that he's stood under the hole, so the sunlight's kind of glimmering on the black oil as it seeps up from the ground. I really like that effect a lot.
Cool. Okay, so was there anything else in this minute that really jumped out at you that you thought was noteworthy?
Just a kind of visual kind of motif. I like the way there's a wide shot of Stevie as the black hole's just starting to come up, and I kind of liken the sunbeam coming through the hole as a kind of UFO beam of light. It's a nice kind of visual aspect there just to win that minute.
Yeah, nice. I think I agree as well. I'm quite keen that we don't sound too negative about kids playing outside on this on these minutes.
Please go outside and play. Ignore us.
Yeah, well, I was looking at an article from the Harvard Medical School, right? 6 reasons children need to play outside. So I'll read a couple out on this minute, and then I think we can pick up the rest maybe next time. But here are 6 crucial ways playing outside helps children. So see what you think of these, Luke. So the first one is sunshine. So because our bodies need sun, we need the vitamin D, which helps you for, your bones to develop, your immune system, all that kind of stuff. Sun exposure also plays a role in other ways, in healthy sleep and in our mood. So our bodies work best, Luke, when they get some sunshine every day. So presumably you'd echo that advice.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think you need sunshine from a mental point of view and a physiological point of view. So definitely important for kids.
Yeah, as somebody who's really at his happiest when he's kind of sat inside the house with the curtains drawn watching TV, I would still say you need some sunshine, guys. All right. And the second point is exercise. So I think this is pretty self-explanatory, but yeah, kids should be active for an hour every day. And getting outside to play is one way to be sure that happens. So sending kids outdoors with something like a ball or a bike or a shovel, as we see in the film, encourages active play, which is really the best exercise for children.
Yeah, definitely. Just check local geographical records to make sure there's no hidden caves underneath where you're digging.
Don't want to come across any dormant black oil, guys. All right, well, I'll tell you what, I'll hold back the rest of these for the next time. But yeah, Luke, you'll be with me for minute 8, won't you?
I will indeed. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, where this scene is going to come to a conclusion. All right, so we will stop there for today, guys. Or in fact, actually, Luke, before we do go, we should mention that you're one of the co-hosts, aren't you, of the Observing the Pattern podcast, which we're recording as it's kind of launching, but by the time people hear this, it'll be kind of well underway, won't it? But do you want to just point people to that quickly?
Yeah, so it's an episode-by-episode podcast of the TV series Fringe. As Carl just said, it's literally just launched as we're recording. It'll probably be well into season 1 by the time this starts to air. You can find us on Twitter at the OTP Podcast. You can find us on Facebook just by typing in Observing the Pattern, and we're on iTunes and Spreaker. Yeah,
great stuff. Go and find it, listeners, because it's a great addition to the We Made This roster. And as everybody knows, I think there's a healthy degree of, I guess, overlap or influence between the X-Files and Fringe. So I think if you haven't seen the series before and you're an X-Files fan, you may well enjoy it quite a bit. So yeah, I would encourage people to seek that out. All right, Luke, yeah, so as I said, you'll be back with me for minute 8 when this scene concludes. Listeners, this is the end for today. I hope you can join us for our next minute. So until then, remember, as always, trust no one.
Previously on the We Made This network. Cinemortuary.
So bad acting all round.
Yes.
It's probably something that's going to happen over and over again in this film. I think the next scene is where we're introduced to dickhead older lads. Is that right?
No, we've just got a quick bit with Dad as well.
Oh, God, do we have to? Go on, then. Dad's fucking useless as well.
Yeah.
We Buy Records.
One of our listeners, they were walking past a charity shop where they saw someone had left records. And not just a few records, 6 bags of records.
Oh, shit.
So they eyeballed these records and thought, it's a bank holiday. It's Sunday today.
So let me guess, they thought it would be only right for me to prevent them getting nicked by somebody by me nicking them.
Correct.
Observing the Pattern, a Fringe podcast.
No, I was just going to say that, I can't remember how people thought about it when the series first started, but I really like Anator, and I think she gets better and better as the series goes on. And I felt like here, I thought you got to see a few different sides of Olivia, so that's what I liked, especially about this first sequence,
Yeah, so I mentioned this to Tony in the primer. She's one of my favourite characters, or she is my favourite character, I think, in Fringe, and mainly because when you first see her, you don't know necessarily that she's the main star.
Check out all of these shows and more on the We Made This podcast network.